Welcome back to the Old History Project YouTube channel. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please see the description below for links to my Facebook page and podcast. Welcome back to the Old History Project. We are here at the unknown cemetery that I'm not going to name for, don't want people harassing the property owner. So I brought a couple of people out here. They didn't want to really appear on camera, but one of them is a historian. He's done a lot of stuff in this area where we are, and we're pretty much all in agreement that this is a cemetery for the enslaved. So, of course, you guys remember that one. And you remember this little fella here, which I think that's a kid's grave. Well, Mr. Historian came over here. He found that one. I thought I was an eagle eye. He just walked up and kicked up some dirt, and there it was. And he found another one over here somewhere. But nonetheless, so when at that point in time, this would have been what I think to be, this could be a freedmen slave, a freedmen cemetery, which means that they were recently freed slaves. For those that don't know, they would have been illiterate. They would have known how to read or write, and there are no markings on any of these stones. So we're pretty much in agreement. Now there's no way to actually prove it, but I've got some maps I'm going to plug in here. They're called TVA, and they said that when they recorded this in 1940, 1938, 1940, somewhere in there, they counted 15 graves. I haven't counted 15, I've counted 4 so far. And then that's an exhumed crypt for sure. There's 5. And then there are these 2 over here. These are also definitely crypts. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, that is a crypt. Somebody else took out of that and put it somewhere else. So here is the weird thing. These 2 were probably mother and child, father and son, a mom and dad, who knows. But for sure, there were people in there. So here's the other wild thing. This here is, this was put here on purpose. So while I'm walking down here to the next little thing I'm about to show you, I've called the church. I've called First Baptist Church. I've called the archives. Spent time in the Registrar of Deeds office. Called Hamblen. Called Hawkins, Granger, and Jefferson counties. And nobody knows anything about this little cemetery here, which is absolutely odd. Not even, it's not too often you find something like this. It's not too often you find something like this and the government doesn't even know about it. The government has their hands on just about everything, and the fact that they don't know about this, that's pretty wild. So we come up here, and well, God don't put rocks in piles like that, and they're all just about the same size. So I don't know what to make of this. I think, in my own opinion, that this is in fact a burial ground for the enslaved. Or at the very least, this could have been, this could just as easily be very early settler. But see, here's the thing. The road that comes up here without revealing where we are. Before the lake was built, it never even came within 1,000 feet of this. So, you know, this wouldn't have been even seen by anybody passing. So I've contacted a few people who specialize in that sort of thing, and when the enslaved would have done burials, they would have been put away from the slave owner's house, or what they would have called the big house. The closest property to here was a huge 600-acre farm. It was one of the earliest here in Hamblen County. And it stayed in the same family until the lake was built. And where this is would have been a good distance away from the house, would have been away from the cattle, out of the farmland. You know, I can get a pretty good read on how the land would have been laid up. And now this is all pretty much a new growth forest. There's something here, but where that cemetery is, it's out of the way. So I don't know what to make of this, guys. I'm going to make a map of how the graves are laid out, and they're all, we took and measured them. They are all almost exactly 20 feet apart. The TVA counted 15, and there are 7, I think, crypts up here. So they're all pretty much in a straight line too, like you guys just seen, minus the 2 graves there together. So I'm going to plug in these maps and plug in what TVA has sent to me, and I'm going to plug it in right here. So as I stated, I've called Hawkins, Granger, and Jefferson counties, and even First Baptist Church, because they bought it in 1987, but they don't even know why they bought it. So nobody knows anything about this cemetery, and that's really, really odd. So this is a pre-Cherokee Lake 1938 topographic map, the blue dot showing the location of the cemetery. You can see that the road at that time doesn't even come near this place. And here is what the TVA man sent to me. I blurred out the names for privacy. You see that they counted 15 graves. I only found 8 of which, and of those 8 that I found, 4 of those have a tombstone, and the rest have, they're exhumed crypts, exhumed holes. I don't know, man. This is just so fascinating that we found this. So just another side note here. I did try my hand at grave dowsing, because I'm really good at water witching with, sticks and rods, and the results were positive. And I have witnesses that can verify that every grave that I walked up to crossed with an X. That's the first time I've ever done it. It was pretty wild, but I didn't film it, because I'm saving that for a much more important thing coming down the road, so stay tuned on that. So just for some backdrop, grave dowsing and water witching are among the oldest practices that came with our ancestors out of Europe. And even then it was already an old practice. So it's a very common thing here in Appalachia to hear your grandpa or your papa or mama say, yeah, can you go witch for water? So stay tuned. Now, I've asked a couple of my friends who have also seen older slave cemeteries, or cemeteries like this one. One of them wants to come out and probe the ground and possibly run a ground penetrating radar over it. So I'm trying to get in conjunction with him here so we can find out what's going on. But he's a busy person. We just got to line our schedules up. So I want to make the map, and I want to send it to the Registrar of Deeds.